Hey, David, I'm sure you're relieved to have Kaapo out there. I just wanted to ask a little bit about, going back to training camp. He spent camp with Panarin and Strome, hasn't spent a lot of time there this season or since the season started. Why was that short-lived, and why does this maybe feel like the right time to go back to it?
It was short-lived. I just didn't love the way things were going, and to be honest with you, I can't remember fully why, because that was about 3 weeks ago. So, but I didn't love the way it was going, and there were other reasons why. Cut line combinations, maybe sitting a guy or someone getting hurt, things like that. Like I said, when one line changes, it really has a domino effect from time to time. But I do like the way he's played lately, and right now with our lineup, that's our best look.
Next question comes from Greg Joyce with the New York Post. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, David, obviously the defense has changed quite a bit the last few days, just in terms of personnel available you have. How do you feel about Hajek and Potato there with the third pair, and what do you like about what each of them brings?
Good. I mean, listen, Libor's had a tough go of it here in the last 2 years with injuries, and that's really the reason that he's kind of in the situation he's in. He had the great start when we called him up 2 years ago and hurt his shoulder, and then last year, was up early and had some ups and downs, but, was still having some good stretches, and then got hurt again, and that's when Lindgren came up and kind of grabbed that spot. So, to no fault of his own, he's, these last 2 years haven't been easy for him, but, he works hard, he skates, he's coachable, and I'm anxious to see him play because this kid's a good player, and he's a good NHL player, and I'm excited for him to get this opportunity.
Next question comes from Mark Rosenman with Sports Talk New York. Mark, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Coach. Speaking of the defense, obviously you couldn't have envisioned that Jacob Trouba, has 100 more games combined than your other 5 defensemen tomorrow night. But that being said, the young guys getting this opportunity to prove themselves, what does that mean for their growth and for the organization going forward?
Well, I think it's important. I think these guys have played meaningful minutes early in their career, and they've certainly handled the responsibility well. And, we have a lot of faith in these guys. And, not just, young is a relative word on our team. When you're 25 in this league, you still should be considered young, but on our team, you're an old guy. So, these guys have played well. And regardless of their age, regardless of how many games they've played, and a lot of people focus on Lindgren and Foxy, but those guys have played, they've only been in the league a year plus, but they've seen all sorts of challenges. They've played in all situations. They've seen everybody's top line. So, they didn't dip their toe in the water, that's for sure, when they started their NHL careers.
Next question comes from Yanni Bengtsson with NHL.com Sweden. Yanni, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you, Yanni.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I got a question about rivalries. There's always been a certain rivalry between teams in the National Hockey League, like Rangers playing Devils or Islanders. Now, when you play them, those old-time rivalries, you think they're grown bigger and become more fierce than before when you play the team now like 9 or 10 times and back-to-back games? And how does that show? Is it like bad blood boiling over from one game to the next?
Yeah, I think especially now that you're playing back-to-backs, usually you don't do that, but now with the schedule the way it's created, you're seeing the same team on back-to-back nights, so you will have carryover from one game to the next, where in a normal setting, even if you played someone 8 times in a season, it's over the course of 82 games and it's spread out, so, those lingering feelings maybe subside a little bit when you don't see a team for 2.5, 3 weeks after your original game. But in this situation, you get a team that you play on a Tuesday and you're going to see the same team on Thursday, and if there was an incident or some things were happening on Tuesday night, they carry over to Thursday night. So without question, there's potential for more heated games, and the rivalry maybe go to a little bit of a different level just because of the schedule and how many times you play each other.
Next question comes from Vince Mercogliano. Vince, go ahead.
David, on the goalies, will it be Georgiev's turn in that rotation that you talked about last week, or did you see enough out of Igor the other night to give him 2 in a row?
Well, not just that. Just under the circumstances, Georgie's been through a lot the last 48 hours, and maybe give him another day or two to kind of, unwind a little bit and get back into the groove of things. And Shesty played well, so we are going to play Shesty tomorrow for variety of reasons.
Next question comes from Greg Joyce. Greg, go ahead.
Does Igor have a chance to kind of ride it here, or you want to get back to Georgiev once he kind of settles in, like you said?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Georgie's going to play for us for sure. I have no idea what's going to happen after tomorrow night, all depending on the plan is to play Georgie again. But, all of a sudden, if something crazy happens or, Shesty does something that we feel will give us a better chance to win the next night, we'll do that. But I don't want to tie ourselves down to any commitment. But right now, the plan would be to play Georgie.
Okay, we have 3 more in queue, and these will be the final 3. First, Mark Rosenman. Mark, go ahead.
Just piggybacking on that, does the game that got postponed Saturday enter into that rotation as far as Georgiev, not wanting him to sit that long?
Yeah, that's certainly part of the decision-making process when you decide who's playing and who's not.
Next question comes from Greg Joyce. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, just want to check on Smith. Do you have an update on how long he might be out, and then Jack Johnson's status as well?
Yeah, both those guys right now are day-to-day. Don't expect either one of them ready for tomorrow.